A circular type shape allows us to keep this side right here closer to the C cup and this back portion right here. Whenever we do our lineups, it's gonna pop out a little bit more than what usual. All right, YouTube, what's going on? Today we have a low taper for y'all today, and this is on a somewhat of a different hair texture that y'all don't normally see on the page. It's more so of a curlier hair texture. When it's curly hair textures, most people have difficult problems with the lineup, doing the lineup and everything. But we're gonna make sure y'all understand all that today. But we ain't really gonna hold y'all too long. We're gonna do a nice little low back taper, low side taper, nice little sharp little lineup and everything. So yeah, let's get straight into the video. Obviously, with any hair texture, the first thing you're gonna do is just comb everything out. You're gonna comb it, not brush it. Combing allows the hair to get lifted up off of the scalp, and that's what we want right there. So we can start debulking us, setting in our guidelines or whatever we may need to do. It's just, we're building our foundation right now, so we can start, fading or setting in lines, hard lines and stuff like that. So we're cutting this client right here. I've been cutting him for a while, so I kind of know his skin, I know his hair texture and whatnot and stuff like that. So his skin is kind of almost, because I have sensitive skin, so his skin is a little bit sensitive, kind of like mine. So we're gonna use our faders instead of our trimmers. Some of y'all hands be too heavy. Some of y'all have heavy hands, that could be the problem. While your skin or client's skin may be reddening or whatever. But some of y'all just need to use clippers that's not as sharp. So what we're doing right now is just setting in our guidelines. And we're making it in a circular type shape. A circular type shape allows us to keep this side right here closer to the C cup and this back portion right here. Whenever we do our lineups, it's gonna pop out a little bit more than what usual. And whatever you do to one side, you do to the other side. All right, for the neck portion right here, we're gonna start with the neck portion first, the neck taper first. So with the neck taper, our client, basically what you want to do while you're combing everything out, you do want to analyze the client's hair texture, if he has any calyx or if the hair is flowing downwards. A cowlick will be like somewhere around this area, like right here. The hair is kind of tilting towards this area, this way now, instead of just going or wanting to go straight down. That's a small cowlick or whatever. Almost everybody has a cowlick in this world. Our hair might be like right here, and then all this hair that's flowing down, it just wants to suddenly just go up like that. And it's just something that people are born with. I think you can form it over time, like the way you lay and stuff like that, maybe. But when we're identifying this taper in the back, you wanna, if we started very, very low right here, or very, very low right here, we won't have enough fade, or our fade will come out uneven because they have less hair on this side and his hair goes down more on this side. So you kind of want to start everything around right here, around this area, making that first guideline. And when the hair's a little bit thick, I kind of like to flick out a little bit because the hair is, somewhat long. So we flick out to eliminate all them loose hairs that's going over our guideline that we setting there. See? You just flick out. So dealing with this, we're gonna pause while before we do the neck area or the neck taper area. So obviously at the end of the haircut, you kind of want to paint a picture for it. This is our canvas, and we want to paint a picture, what the end cut should look like. Should have some type of silhouette in our mind of what the end cut should look like. So at the end of the cut, I know that this will have to be lined up, basically. So if I'm planning to line this up in the future, I can't physically line this up because of all of this bulk, which is hair right here that's standing up. So to eliminate that, usually with hair textures or more curly hair textures and not more coarse. With coarse hair, you could probably use a one guard around this area to cut or debulk your client's hair down. But with curly hair or straight hair, you want to take extra precautions, especially with straight hair. Straight hair is more of a we're gonna just say straight hair is more straight hair. We're not gonna. Black people can have straight hair too, but mainly we're gonna say white people. White people mainly have straight hair, but black people can have somewhat of a straight hair too. But our client has curly hair. Curly hair is in between coarse and straight. So our client has curly hair, so we kind of want to treat it a little bit differently. So we're gonna do, I already know what guard we're gonna go down to, but just for the sake of the video, we're gonna go with a number 2 guard. You can't start off with a number 3 if you're not feeling as confident or you're not sure what kind of hair your client has, or maybe right here in this area he has a calic. Usually when you cut calics down, even if somebody was having a wavelength or anything like that, when you cut a calic down, the calic is basically you know, less hair grows right there as well during a calic or in a calic's area. So when you cut a calic down, even though you're cutting it down with the same length of the rest of the hair, if you're cutting it down, the calic might come out like a if you're cutting it down with a 1 guard, it might come out a 1.5 guard size. Basically, I'm about to show you our 2 guards that I'm talking about. So if he had waves or he had a calic right here, and I cut everything down with the grain, with the number 1 guard. See, this is a half guard. This is smaller than the number 1 guard. It's way thinner. If he had a calic right here and I cut it all the same down with the 1 guard, and he had a calic right here, usually when you cut calics, they go lower than the rest of the hair. So it'll be truly like a 1.5 or maybe even bald. And to make sure that don't happen, what you want to do, you want to start off with a higher guard first, like a number 2 guard or 1.5. But we're starting off with a 2 guard first just to be safe, and just slowly start working our way down. You can start with the level all the way open and just slowly start working down, seeing or playing or kind of analyzing what you need to do to get that successful length that you want so you could line the client up. And as you can see, we cut it down with the number 2 guard, and it's still the whole point for making in a lineup, no matter if it's in the back neck areas or the front area, you kind of want the hair to be able to lay down somewhat so it can last the client a little bit longer. So I still see we got little straggly hairs, little curls and stuff like that all right there. So you're going to move down to a 1.5 guard level all the way open. The lever being all the way open leaves more hair. That way we can just be safe. And we're going to start cutting it down even more. If that's not working, you can slowly start cutting or moving your blade down to close. Just trying to get that right length that you want. Off of the back, the first thing that we're going to do is make this first guideline with our lever all the way open. Every time we make a guideline, the level will always be all the way open. And we're going up about 1 inch. You want to dictate that by how much client or how much room do you have to work with as your client. Your client might have, or the person's hair that you're cutting might have, you know, the same exact hair texture as this client that I'm cutting right now, but they might be thinning in the back, or they might, you know, they might not have as much hair to work with, or their neck is probably short, or who knows, maybe the neck is longer, so now you got to go up 1.5 inches or whatever. It's all dictating on what the barber, you, feels like it should be for real, or, you know, you kind of want to work with the client, whatever the client says, low taper, but you, at the end of the day, as a barber, you have to analyze the neck and whatnot and decide what would be best, or how far or how thick should I make my guidelines for real. So the next thing we're going to do, since we faded all of that down, how we faded that, we slowly close the lever and we move down. That's called the fading down technique. The fading down technique is actually really, really good. And it helps the transition look, it helps you transition a lot more. And if you didn't want to cut into all this right here, it's best to fade down so you don't fade too high. So for all you barbers that's having problems fading, you know, you might notice that you're fading a little bit too high or higher than you usually would want. Fading down is the best thing. It's the best way to go. So we're cutting everything down with the number 2 guard. We started with the lever all the way open, and then we're slowly moving the lever till we got to a close, so we get to a nice point. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna open up the lever all the way, and because he has hair up here, which is curls, we're gonna flick out. You don't only flick out with straight hair. With curly hair, we're gonna flick out as well. And don't worry about the weight line that's being created around this area right here. We're going to handle that whenever we get done fading everything below that. And basically what we're gonna do, we're gonna grab each guard, the 2 guard, the 1.5. We're still gonna flick out with each guard. Flicking out is basically what is intended or what the name says. Just flicking out, slowly just flicking out like this, creating that motion. And we're getting the shape of his taper, basically that shape like this, and not going straight up like a flat top or whatever. And this helps build weight up top, so we don't cut into his curls. And so the blend looks, it looks like it's like yin and yang. I wouldn't say yin and yang, but it looks like the blend and the top of his hair just coexist. And it just smoothly goes from the blend all the way to the top of his hair. You don't want to cut somebody and then they have hair up top, and then you fade them and it's just a big line right there, just because the blend doesn't go into the top of his curls or the top of their hair. And this could go for straight hair or curly hair, or maybe even coarse hair if they dealing with certain clients or whatever kind of hairstyle that they have. So basically at a point, so we're gonna slowly move down, just like we did with that first guideline, still flicking out. We're gonna be moving down, slowly closing the lever and moving down at the same exact time while combing. You're pushing the hair up, because this is a comb as well. This is the comb, and the comb feeds, or the guard is considered a comb. And basically what that does is a guard is a comb that feeds the hair into your clipper blade so it can cut it. So basically the comb is pushing the hair up, and you're combing the hair back down just so you can see what you're really working with. Because the hair cannot be standing up, and you could cut it thinking that it's something that is not as longer than it should be, when really all that hair needed to be was just comb back down. And you don't want that to happen, because then you'll have like a big gash in your client's head. And you do not want that to happen. So we're working all the way down till we get to all the way closed. Now we move straight to our 1.5. This is the guard below the 2 guard. And whenever we left off around this area right here, wherever we left off with that 2 guard, that's what we pick up from with this lever all the way open with our 1.5 guard. And we're just slowly doing the same exact process, moving down with this taper. Very easy, very simple steps. With these steps you can accomplish any haircut or do any hair texture. You don't have to keep switching your steps up and keep going to other barber pages and learning from them and stuff like that. And they also trying out different techniques, showing you different techniques. It's good to learn different things, but when you have a solid foundation, you can kind of work from there and kind of get out. Once you have a solid foundation, a solid system that you can put out more efficient haircuts. Or even something that's like this technique right here. I do this technique on every single hair texture. I don't have to switch it up. I don't have to do other things. Or I might analyze and figure out, okay, what system should I use now? It's all the same exact thing. So that cuts down my time, and I don't have to put in no extra effort when cutting a client's hair, because I already know what I'm about to do. I just have to analyze the hair like we did with this client and then work from there. Now we with our 1 guard. Same thing, we still flicking out. Still flicking out. Close the lever a little bit, move down. And you can go back in the previous area in detail whenever you get halfway. That's the good thing about this system. As soon as you get halfway, when you're fading down, you kind of want to turn your clipper to the side and just start detailing. Basically cutting 2 hairs into 1, or basically just splitting the hairs. That's all detail is. And detail allows us to get a more flush and more fluid flow when it comes to our tapers, so it can look all and well put together. You don't want no lines in your tapers. And that right there will have you consider as a next level barber, a higher or better barber in your city for real. That could increase your clientele just because you don't have no lines or whatever. Just by detailing. Detailing is what gets them blurry fades, we like to call it, as barbers nowadays. And now we're with the smallest guard, the half guard right here. Same thing, lever all the way open and just moving slowly down. And as y'all can see, y'all just watch the taper come from, I might put a little video or a little image of what the taper used to look like. But y'all didn't watch the whole taper just now. Fast, quick, and easy. Simple stuff. Let me show y'all. I can already see it. Is it possible to go down a little bit more? Right there, thank you. Alright. But y'all can see how clean the tape is. Now we have to do the side. So basically, with our tape right here, we already, this is our first guideline right here. So what we're about to do, let me show you this process. If you're not sure what you're working into and they have a lot of hair and it's too thick for you to work into, we're going to grab our 2 guard just like we did on the back, and we're going to do this option first. And we're going to debulk all this right here. And because it's a low taper, I know I'm working around in this general area. So we're going to keep that same shape, that same oval shape. Just debulking, going down right like that. Not really, going too high, whatever. And then we can move down with our 1.5 guard. Boom, same exact thing. Begin where we left off with our 2 guard. And just start cutting down. Just like that. And boom, that should clear up some space for y'all, or somewhat of a space, so y'all can get ready to start doing y'all taping. Same thing we did for the back. Level all the way open. Create that guideline. We're not going to go up so much like how we did in the back for real, just because this is a taper. And the taper is on the sides is with a taper, the side taper and the back taper, as you can see, it's kind of 2 different widths for real. So we have this small amount of general space or area that we have to work with. So we're going to make our guidelines, we're going to adjust and make our guidelines a little bit smaller. And all we're doing is just fading down right now. Very simple, very easy. Detail if needed. And now we're ready to move on to our next thing. Because we cut down everything with a 2 guard, we can debulk with a 2 guard. Or you want to do, since we cut everything down with a 2 guard, we could grab a 3 guard. Remember that weight in the back? You could take a 3 guard that we had started with, and you could debulk in the back. Or if you want to debulk right now, because you know everything is cut down with a 2 guard and a 1.5, the guard after the 2 guard is a 3 guard. So you could basically flick out and start debulking like that. We're not going up too high because we're only working in this general area. I want y'all to remember that. Remember the shape of your client's taper, and what you need to preserve to be successful in another area. Like, we're not doing the lineup right now, but we want to preserve all of this right here so we can have a nice, crispy, successful shape for our lineup. And basically, we started with the level all the way open, and we just work down. Closing the level, flicking out. And remember, my clippers, or if you look, my clippers are turned to the side. So I don't touch it way up here if I'm going right there. I'll be fading all this right here. So I don't fade all this right here. So we can preserve that space and keep that space for our C cup. Moving down with the 2. Very simple. 2 guard, all the way open. Whenever we start our fading process, close it a little bit, fade down a little bit more, or move down with this side of the taper. Still flicking slightly until you get to all the way closed. You can't detail, go halfway. Use the corners of your blade and detail like that. Now we're in our 1.5 guard area. This guard right here, level all the way open. Whenever we left off with our 2 guard, that's what we're picking up with our 1.5 guard area at. And y'all, I'm explaining this as simply as I possibly can. I'm pretty sure y'all understand though. Kind of like to break everything down to detail so y'all can really understand and learn for real. Because not a lot of people do that. And we're just simply just moving down. And as y'all can see, y'all can slightly see the taper come together. With fading down, just because you have no guidelines for real, you're not going to see the taper results as quick as you would normally see. But whenever you get to a certain guideline or a certain length, you're going to really start to see the taper come into existence or flourish. You're going to see the taper at its full, I guess, capabilities or whatever. 1 guard all the way open. Whatever we left off with the 1.5 guard all the way closed, that's what we're going to pick up with the 1 guard. Moving down. Every time you fade, we should be moving down. Never in the same exact area. Because I can't go down no more, we're going to take our 1 guard and go halfway. I want to detail in all of these dark spots just to smoothen out the blend. Detailing is very important. Y'all don't want to get an opportunity to cut no rapper, no, you know, celebrity or anything like that one day, and their tape will look all choppy, and you know, you don't want that. You don't want them to go in front of all these people, because cutting hair, you have to be a certain skill level to cut those, you know, people. They still have people that don't, that's not of the skill level that cut because of popularity and stuff like that. But you do want to go in and know and have confidence. You don't want to be nervous. Let's say Drake. You don't want to be nervous while cutting Drake's hair. If you're nervous, you're obviously going to be probably nervous. I have little butterflies. But if you don't, you know, you don't want to go in there with no confidence. That's the worst thing. So, confidence, knowing how to fade, watching videos, doing it over and over again builds muscle memory. So I can learn. And whenever y'all go to do these things, and whenever y'all do get y'all big break or your opportunity, y'all will be more than ready for it. Because this is something that you'll do every single day. And that is the end of our low taper right there on the side. Now we're about to finish up the other side for our low taper. And then we're going to start initiating or putting in or implementing, we're using big words, implementing the lineup. For the back lineup, we didn't line prep. We're going to show y'all that, you know, later or whatever. But for this back lineup, what you want to do, you want to pick a designated spot so where you still have a nice curve. The curve still flows and everything for the taper. So I will start the curve around this area right here. So I'm going to pick a nice spot, and the angles do matter. If I angle it too far this way, it's going to curve into his ear. Now you're going to have a hitch inside of the curve for the lineup. So you want to pick a good little spot so you're not cutting too far into the client's hair, but it's still a nice, it's going to give off a nice curve whenever you look at it. Just creating that initial curve, and then once you get to right here, you can hold the ear with your other hand, or your under two fingers on your other hand, and just get all this off right here. And it's really that simple. Alright, looking at our client's lineup at the front, it's all bushy, it's all everywhere and whatnot. So that means we're going to have to cut it down. We're going to separate the hair that wants to curl, and the hair that's really for his lineup, and we're going to start cutting it down. We can't even, with his hair like that, that's why we don't want to line it up first. With hair like that, we can't even decide what is the weak side and what side is the strong side. So we're going to do, with our level all the way open, start cutting everything down on his lineup. And we're combing at the same time. And then you slowly want to move to the level all the way closed. And this is just ensuring that we get that right length that we want. You don't want it too thin. You don't want it too thick to where the clippers can't cut through and make a successful straight lineup. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our half guard and start cutting down. Level all the way open, remember? And if that's not doing any justice, close the level. Simple as that. And keep doing it till you find a spot or a hair length that you feel most comfortable at when lining up. And from my time of cutting, you know, hair textures like this or curly hairs, when it comes to the lineup, it's best not to use the hot towel. You can if you want, but the hot towel is you know, initially used to lay everything down. The hot towel and the foam and whatnot, we just don't use. Us barbers are more skillful barbers that know what to do. We're just not using it just for no purpose. It just helps to lay the lineup down for real. So with this type of hair texture, everything is basically already laid down. So what you want to do is you want to get the holding spray. Matter of fact, what you can do, another step, just so your lines can come out more crispy or whatnot. Put some alcohol, get a little alcohol swab, and just swab everything on his lineup down. And this just gets all the dirt, all the grime, all the stuff that you don't want. Just cleaning the haircut for him, for the lineup area or section. And then you just want to blow that, dry that on cold air. You always want to use cold air, never hot. Because the hot air basically heats up the holding spray or heats up your clients or makes them sweaty or whatnot. So cold air actually locks everything in. The holding spray that you spray and all this other stuff. So we're really gonna do this little swab or whatever. And then we're gonna get the holding spray, our designated holding spray that we do want to use. And then we're gonna start blow drying everything, and then we're gonna comb everything out, which I'm about. So after you apply the holding spray and you spray dry, you know, blow dry it on cold air, you kind of want to start combing. Let me see if y'all can see. But you want to comb all of this out because that was the holding spray is also meant to hold the hair down, but it makes everything compress onto the scalp. So you want to comb everything. We just want that hard stiffness of the holding spray. You still want to comb everything out, so whenever you get through or whenever you get ready to line up the client, it could just cut straight through the hair and not be compressed to his skin, and now you gotta keep going over and over again, basically almost creating a red line around your client's lineup, or maybe even scarring them because you're doing it so much. We do not want that to happen. So we're gonna comb it out. It already has that toughness, that hard stiffness that we need for a successful lineup. So basically what we're about to do, our client doesn't really have a strong side or a weak side, but he does have this one point that comes down a little bit lower because it says long right here, or maybe a widow's peak. Yeah, I think it's a slight widow's peak. So we will take this back a little bit just so it could add up or be even to this side, this corner, and this corner right here. So basically what you do, you start in the middle, make your first little indentation line. You really want to work to the weak side of the weak side first, and then match the strong side with the weak side, because you can never bring hair back, but you can always you know, take it away. So let us line up the strong side first. Basically, the strong side is the side with the most hair. So if you line up the strong side, the hair that grows closer to his eyebrows, you line up that first, and we have the weak side way over here. Now you're gonna be lining it up on a slant. So we want to make sure it's in a straight line. So you line up the weak side first, and then match the strong side, even if you have to take it back just a little bit, just so the line could be straight, that perfect straight boxy look that we want. And then once you do one side or whatever, if he has a strong side, or if he doesn't have a strong side or weak side, you basically pick whatever side that you want, basically working to the more comfortable side. Me, I am right-handed, so I'm going to be working towards this side. So basically that's it. Well, I'm going to show you how the haircut after, but if y'all do want to watch a haircut tutorial on the lineup, I do have other videos for that. Alright YouTube, so this is the cut right here. A nice, clean, low taper. Nice sharp lineup. We're going to turn our client around for y'all, just so y'all can see. Kind of tilt your head down, right down. Nice clean back taper. Nice on the sides, as y'all can see. But you know, just a simple taper that anybody can do if they follow these steps, step by step. If you follow these steps, I believe everything in the video. I'm not doing nothing off camera for real. You know, just tweaking a haircut. I'm not using a different system off camera. Everything that I use, everything is my real systems, my real and actual systems. But it's HYB. If you're not here in business, what you're doing, and we out.